Well, friends, we are now winding up. Okay, maybe we still have some days to go. In this series, we're talking about that you have what it takes to make it in this life. And I'm addressing people who actually think they don't. I'm addressing people who have been in situations and in places where things have been taken away from them, or they just feel like they don't measure up. Systems have been put into place, and procedures have been put into place, and marks have been put into place, set marks and cutoff points, and you've been found wanting. And now you're telling yourself and the rest of your life that you don't have what it takes to make it in life. Let me tell you this. You do have what it takes. And I want us to add one more reason as to why I think that is the case, and I want you to stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Life Signatures episodes are brought to you by africanbooks.com, which is an online ebook platform that seeks to broadcast the African Christian voice to the world. As such, they have become a hub for African content, connecting African writers and publishers with a global reading audience. Publishing your books on their site is free and easy, with authors having full control over their content and the price they choose to sell at it. I was personally blown away by the concept that africanbooks.com is coming up with. Things like no content from their site or their app is going to be run on laptops so that people can easily copy. In other words, your content as a writer is restricted from digital multiplication or digital copying. So you remain intact with your information. And the other concept that I got so blown away with was the fact that in some time to come, in due course, africanbooks.com will be starting to announce African Writer of the Year. In other words, there will be competitions in all African countries to figure out who is the best published author. And I also fell in love with the fact that countries can actually compete against each other. We can have African authors going at it after each other, and your book as an author will be reviewed and have some stars and recommended upon that particular platform. The thing is that it's an answer to Amazon.com. You know, with Amazon, what happens? You've got to have an account in the Americas or whatever, or in Europe before you can get paid as an author. But here, the local currency is in play and the local means of getting paid are in play. So to get started, go to africanbooks.com as an author or as a publisher, and even as a reader if you wanted to read your African favorite authors. Enjoy. Well, let me tell you something. Growing up in primary school, I went to a village primary school. And in this village primary school, for some reason, maybe it's just providence, but for some reason, I was in a class where I couldn't top. As in, from class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 8, I could not top, no matter how much I tried. The competition in that class was seriously stiff in the first 5 or so spots. In fact, the top 10. I mean, we had bright guys, bright kids. Guys will just shock you, and that competition was utmostly healthy for us. And I look back and I see that those of us who were there, we faced some odds, each of us in our own contexts. There's a character that I do remember who used to top. I mean, this guy was one of the brightest. He was top 2 at all times. And we went all the way up to level 8, standard 8. For some reason, his parents or his siblings or his folks or his family did not have enough money for him to go to high school. He was admitted at high school, but he didn't have enough money to go there. So he never really went to high school. But this was a guy, I mean, way above my punching weight in terms of academia. Very good guy. And you know what? The system or the odds that he faced in his life made him to basically become, for lack of a better word, a nobody. But he had what it takes to make it in this life. So sometimes we go through life and it gives us curveballs, it gives us some kind of feedback, some setback, some crisis, some odds that we cannot overcome. And we come to this conclusion that we don't have what it takes. And I'm here to challenge that proposition and saying that, number one, I do believe you have what it takes because you are breathing. You are still alive. Number two, I believe you have what it takes because you are predestined. Episode number 1173 will cover that. You are predestined. And I believe number three, you have desires. Episode number 1174. You have desires, and these desires are powerful. And then yesterday and the day prior, we talked about you have a cloud of witnesses. That means you have people who have made it. You have folks you don't even need to go around the country. Just in your district. In fact, the district is just too big. In your village, there are people who have faced odds, probably even worse than yourself. And they have come out, they have made it, they have been determined, they have pushed on, they have made it, they have come out on the other side victorious. If they did, I do believe that you can do it. We talked about that yesterday and the previous day. And today, I do believe that you have what it takes because chances are that you are healthy. You are not in a hospital ward. You are not bedridden. You are not in the ICU. You are not in the high dependency unit. You are not in a hospital ward. You are at home. Maybe you are jobless, but you are at home. And you're healthy. You have all the faculties of your mind and all the faculties of your body working. You are healthy. And as long as you are healthy, I do believe you have a chance, a greater chance than many people who are in hospital beds, many people who are already in the graveyard, many people who are in the ICUs and the HDUs of this world, and they are incapacitated one way or another. They are facing maybe a bout of tetanus, or maybe diabetes, maybe cancer, maybe HIV, maybe this or maybe that. They are in a hospital bed. They need a nurse. They need a doctor. They need a pharmacist. They need a medic. They need medicine. They need to be attended to. Not you. Probably not you. Let me tell you something. Even those guys who are in the hospital beds, they can still make it. They have what it takes to make it in this life. It is my guess that you are healthy. And as long as you are not bedridden, you have what it takes to make it in this life. As long as you have a sound mind and a healthy body, as long as you can hear me, you can move around, you can eat, even if the food is not there, but you can walk, you can see, you can smell, you can hear. As long as you have a sound mind and a healthy body, you have so much going on for you than you could ever imagine. The problem is that we are going into our heads. That's where the battle is either won or lost. Joyce Meyer has a whole book, a whole volume called The Battlefield of the Mind. It is in the mind that we convince ourselves that we don't have what it takes to make it. And the person who is convincing themselves that they don't have what it takes to make it, they are looking at the physical things. I don't have money, I don't have a wife, I don't have this, I don't have that. I don't have someone to open the doors for me. I don't have a big brother or a big sister, or I don't have a benefactor in the government. I don't have someone that I know comes from my clan or my village who is a big shot in the government. I don't have all those things going on for me. But you are healthy. You are healthy. You are alive. You can walk, you can see. That mind has convinced you that you don't have what it takes. That's where the battle is either won or it is lost. If you needed to know how true this is, that you have what it takes to make it in this life, then do me a favor, or do yourself a favor actually, not even me. Do yourself a favor. Take a walk. Visit the cancer ward where kids cancer ward. We visited one of those in Kenyatta National Hospital maybe 20 years ago. Yeah. We went back home with ideas. What we can do in life. Basically, it's like you're given a shot in the arm when you see people in the worst conditions. And you know what we saw in the cancer ward, kids cancer ward? They were not crying and feeling sorry for themselves. They were playing. They were happy. They were excited. And yet there was a death sentence upon their heads. I tell you got what it takes to make it in this life. You just need to convince yourself. You just need to see someone in a worse state than you are right now. You have no clue what is going on for you. There is so much going on for you. There is so much hope. There's so much promise. There's so much possibility. There's so much potential. There's just so much up on your side. Let me tell you a story, and I close with this story. And that's the analogy of what we're going through. It's a typical of what we're going through when we convince ourselves that we don't have what it takes. There's a story in the Bible. Smack in the middle of the Bible, there is this prophet, and who was a helper. One day, there is an army of soldiers from an enemy camp surrounding this prophet and his helper. And this helper looks around and says, "Oh my God, my Lord, our day is done. We have no hope. We are gonna be cooked meat. Look around us, we are surrounded." And the prophet told this guy, "You have no clue what you're talking about." And he touched him and said, "God, open his eyes and let him see." And this guy, this helper of the prophet, was able to see in the spirit that the angel armies that were for them, fighting for them, or ready to prepare to fight for them and protect them, were multitudes as compared to these physical armies that they were seeing. That's what I'm going to tell you today. You who has convinced yourself in your mind that you don't have what it takes, you have no idea what you have going on for you. And I need you to take a step of faith. Like I told you, this series is going to be inspirational and motivational. It doesn't have tangible information. It doesn't have this principle and that principle and that principle do this. But I'm telling you to believe this and have your eyes of discernment opened up with clarity so that you can be able to see what's going on for you. The fact that you are healthy, you have so much going on for you, and you have what it takes to make it in this life. Tomorrow we will share one more reason as to why I believe you have what it takes in this life to make it. You want to stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.